Congratulations on registering for the webinar. I am so excited because I know how much stuff you're going to learn on this webinar. Things, strategies, and tactics that will help take your company to the next level. And I can almost guarantee that you are not doing these things right now. So before we begin, I felt it was important that I give you a little bit of a backstory as to why I'm doing this. So the year was 2010, and I remember it had already been a tough week because we already lost 2 cases. One was a 24-hour case, another 12-hour case. Our revenue had dipped, and we were under a lot of stress. So we finally sit down to go over our financials, and we take a look at our financials, and it wasn't pretty. And then we look at our bank account, and we actually realize like we've only got 60 days, about 60 days, maybe 90 days if we're lucky, of cash left. And the stress was mounting. My palms were all sweaty, my stomach was in knots, my head was pounding, and I'd already been working like 60 plus hours a week for a long time. So it all began 5 years earlier. I met my wife at a transformational seminar in Orlando, and the seminar was all about aligning your personal mission and vision with your values. So there she was across the room. I mean, she was amazingly beautiful. And I started talking with her. It turns out not only is she beautiful, she's super smart too and had this huge heart. So fast forward a little while, we start dating, we decide to open the business together, and then we find out that we're having a baby. And I always wanted to work for myself because I didn't want to work for someone else and help build someone else's dream. I wanted to build our dream together. And I also wanted the freedom that I thought owning a business would bring. The ability to work and then come home and take care of the family. Those were the things that I was buying into when we decided to start our home care agency. We wanted that, but we also wanted something where we would be able to help a lot of people. So my real primary motivation is that deep down inside, I just wanted to prove to myself and to my wife that I can actually support our family and that I can actually do something good in this world. You see, growing up, I always struggled with self-worth issues, and I always felt like I wasn't good enough. So for me, this was like an opportunity to prove myself while also being able to help people. So the other reason that I wanted to start a home care business is that I had a super close relationship with my grandmother Grace. Like when I moved to Florida, she was the only family that I had. And I remember like when she was aging, my grandfather had passed away, and she started having major issues. She couldn't take care of herself. She didn't know how to drive. Fortunately my parents retired and they moved to Florida and they were able to take care of her, but she refused to move in with them and she refused to move into assisted living. And I remember this one time my mom goes to her house and she walks in and she sees blood all over the toilet. And she's like, what happened? So it turned out that she actually had a tumor in her chest. She'd been bleeding for a while and didn't tell anybody. And sadly, a few months after that, she had passed away. But she was like my guardian angel, and still is to this day. And at the time, we didn't know about home care. Like, we didn't know that it even existed. So when my wife and I started meeting with franchise brokers, he went through a series of questions. He's like, what's important to you? What are your values? What do you want? And we just kept narrowing down the list until we got to home care. And the second that he told us about this opportunity, we knew like this is what we want to do. I really believed that owning a business was going to be amazing for our family. Little did I know that I was introducing our family to this 24/7 pressure cooker that caused so much stress in my life and in our relationship. There was one point where I truly felt like my wife was going to leave me because I was under so much pressure trying to make it work because we had everything that we had was invested in this business. And here we are on the verge of losing everything. So when all this was happening, I knew I had to change something because whatever I was doing wasn't working. And when I got into this business, I had 15 years of successful sales experience. Yet here I am in a position where our sales are stagnant and we're literally getting ready to shut the doors. So I knew I had to do something. And the one thing I kept thinking about is like, I know there's people that are successful, and I know there's people that are successful doing this business. So I knew there had to be a better way. I just didn't know what it was at the time. So I literally went all in. I started immersing myself in everything related to sales and marketing and business ownership from people that are like way smarter than me. So a lot of the stuff that I read and a lot of the trainings that I did, they kept saying, just keep pushing through it, keep pushing through it. And it seems like the more I was pushing, the worse things got for me. So then I came across this training with one of the brightest marketing minds in the world. His name's Jay Abraham. And as I'm going through his training, one of the things he said really stood out to me. He talked about this business that he did some consulting work with, and he did an exchange. And basically, he exchanged his sales and marketing consultant to learn the strategy that this business was incorporating. And the reason why it was so intriguing to him was because this business was doing 400% better than its closest competition. 400%. So when I learned that, I was like, wow, this is like super cool. Like, I have to learn this stuff. So as I started implementing, like, some of the dominoes started to fall, and I started to see some improvement, but it still wasn't enough. So I started testing and trying different things and applying this strategy to all aspects of our business, like our intake call process, our living room visits, our field call process. I started training my team on it, and after trying a ton of different things, I actually started to systematize the process within the business, within all aspects of the business, and the results were amazing. Over the next year, we did over $1 million in revenue in new growth. This is new business, and we 5x'd our profits for that year. I mean, even today, like, I still get goosebumps because it does feel surreal, but it was real. I mean, we really did do this. But what was really amazing about everything is that not only did my team start to buy into the process, but I was actually selling less. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's true. Like, I was selling less, but we were getting more business and we were converting more business. Fast forward a few years, we got to the point where I was finally able to build out our team and have more freedom from our business compared to what I had been doing the years prior. So we built out our team. I was working an average of about 15 hours a week. We even got to the point where I took 8 months off from our business and got to experience the birth of our third child. So while that for me was a blessing, the part that kept on driving me and kept on motivating me was the letters that I would get from our clients thanking us for how much we changed their life or how much we improved their quality of life. And for me, that was my primary motivation. You know, and the part that I wasn't expecting but helped me throughout this process was that as we started to have success in our business, I no longer felt like such a failure. So you guys are in for a real treat for the webinar. So I do look forward to seeing you on there and hope you have an amazing rest of your week.